welcome back to another episode of The Straight Shooters. This is where we talk about all different forms of entertainment, give you our honest opinion, and we don't sugarcoat on this show. So we'd like to welcome you all back. My name is Todd.
And I'm Itai.
And we are independent filmmakers, and we just love all different types of entertainment. And so that's why we're doing what we're doing. Tonight, we are going to be talking about Gary Numan's album, Savage, Songs from a Broken World. And this one was my idea. I brought this up to Itai and just said, hey, man, what
your
if...
pick.
Yep. Yeah, it was my turn to pick. So I said, I really like this Gary Numan album. And once I started digging deeper into it, I try to distance myself as much as I can as of late, especially when it comes to political stuff. And I don't mind if artists do these political albums. The one thing that I like about this album was, okay, it's political. Yes, it's about, a lot of it has to do about climate change and things like that, stuff that some agree with, some don't agree with. But the beauty of what I liked about this album was the fact that it's not blatant. It's not, saying this is what I am singing about. He created this this post-apocalyptic, what did you call it, Itai? Concept album.
Yeah, it's a concept album, no doubt.
And it was, I like the album because I worked with my kid a couple of years ago on a music video that kind of had the similar kind of look, and I just happened to be, I kind of happened to be going through the internet looking for something. I don't even remember what it was, and I came across this picture of Gary Numan, or the album cover of Savage, and I look and I go, oh wow, that looks a lot like the music video that we shot a couple of years ago. But then on top of that, I didn't even know Gary Numan was still making music, because a lot of, as we all know, a lot of 80s artists, they came, they showed up, they gave us some awesome music, and then they're like Kaiser Soze. They just disappear off in one hit wonderland. So yeah, we're gonna go through the Savage album tonight, and we're gonna go song by song. We're gonna start at the beginning, and we're just gonna kind of rate, give our own rating, and talk about each one of the songs. And then those of you who are watching the show, if you have an idea or have a favorite Gary Numan album, put it in the comments. And that's something else. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share. So make sure you do that.
Especially like, share, subscribe. Yeah, that would help us a lot. Yeah, that helps us. The algorithm and all of that, and a bit more exposure would be nice.
Absolutely. So we do thank everybody who has been watching. Our first couple episodes are out and are doing really well, and we're super happy about that. So we're just going to keep doing this, man. So you want to hear something, if you want us to talk about an album or anything like that, just send us an email to the email address below, and we will be more than happy to get into that. So let's talk about the album that is Gary Numan's Savage.
Thing about Gary Numan, when you suggested, when you picked this album for the episode, I was like, oh yeah, Gary Numan, sure. But I actually didn't know what year this album is from. I've heard it before, I think roughly a little bit after it came out, but I haven't listened to it since. And it came out in 2017, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something like that. And I sort of vaguely knew that he's been still making music all these years. I just haven't really thought about it. And then all of a sudden you go, hang on a second, he's been around since the late 70s. I mean, we listened to it when we were younger, probably more in the early mid 80s
Yeah.
to his stuff,
Yeah.
when Cars came out and that kind of thing. That's what he's most well known for.
Yeah. Yep.
But I can't say that I really followed closely over the years. The fact that I have listened to this one before is almost sort of by pure accident. I think.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised when you told me that. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
someone
know
put
that
me
album.
onto it.
I went. I never even.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I hadn't even. I didn't even know the guy was still making music. I mean, he's got like 19 studio albums that he's done. It's like every couple years since he put out his first album. Was it 1979 was when the Pleasure Principle rolled out and had the song Cars on it. And
well, he's been making music for about 45 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's kind of cool is he doesn't look old,
No,
you look at him, he looks older, but he doesn't look like you would think a lot of rock stars look. And at this point in their career.
Also, his voice is about, it hasn't degraded or anything over time. It's still as sharp as it was.
I was shocked.
It's even sharper than it was. Although he's not one of those vocalists who, belt out or anything like that. So it's his own style. So that's it makes sense, but it was still a bit like you said, sort of shocking that it's still like so clear. And obviously his production value has definitely improved over the years, with technology and all that. And it's a bit more like industrial synth pop now, And the thing about this particular album, like we said, it's a sort of a theme going through it. It's a concept album.
Right.
It was almost like listening to a soundtrack.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's one of the things that attracted me to it. I guess he like started writing this album in like 2015, early 2016, because of again, leave your political hats at the door. I'm just bringing out information that was available about how the album came about. But I guess when the presidential races were going and he saw some of the things that some of the politicians were talking about and whatnot, kind of brought him to start putting this album together. So that was, and again, when you listen to it, there's a lot of artists out there that do political music and they just flat out, throw it at you and that's that. But this album, because it sounds like a soundtrack, and that was one of the things that really I really liked about it. I wish we could play some of the music. Oh my gosh, now the one thing that we were talking about was the fact that it did kind of get pseudo repetitious. That's something that you brought up.
For me anyway, but yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about let's say the first track.
The first track.
Ghost Nation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I thought that was an ass-kicking way to start an album. It was awesome. It's high energy, it's interesting, it piques your curiosity. You go, hey, what the hell am I listening to here? This is really good. It's anthemic. So it's like this anthem of a song, and you go with it. It's like, this is awesome, and then it goes into the next song and you go, okay, this is a bit lower key kind of.
But it's a wave.
But it's a little bit, somewhere along the same lines, just not as good. And then the third song is the same as that, and the same as that, and the same as that. There's a few sort of peaks in there. I've got it written down somewhere because I can't remember the names of all the tracks, but
I've
there
got
were a
them
few
all. I got
that
them
I
all
thought
lined up.
was yeah, there were a few that I thought were standout tracks, but none of them I don't think came close to this first one, the
Yeah,
Ghost
Ghost
Nation. That
Nation. I love it
by
because
far
it
the best
starts
track.
off that you hear a little bit of wind in the background, and then it goes bomb bomb. You know, da, da, bomb bomb. I mean, I guess you could
Yeah.
say it has a little reminiscence of "It's My Life" from Bon Jovi. You know, not that hard, of course, but it you know, the lyrics are, you know, we live in a windswept hell where the dust and death are neighbors. We hide in a perfect storm, not even God remembers. And that's his singing, though, too. We were talking about that before we got started, and you know, his voice is still, you know, really good. You know, there's nothing, I mean, you know, like you brought up, he doesn't, it's not like he's John Bon Jovi or you know, along those lines of a singer, but you know, he could also be like sickening out of key as well, or just not. You know, he could be David Lee Roth now. I'm sorry, that was my out loud voice. So, but yeah, that you're right, man. That song, when that song just starts, every time I listen to it in the car, I just crank it up and let it go. So, and that I have a couple of notes about that song. I guess he did an interview for The Sun, and he says the world is very hostile and you just need to survive. Basic survival is very difficult, and every day is an awful trial for everybody. So it becomes extremely violent. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily, but and then he goes on to say that there's a group called Ghost Nation, and they have a strong dislike of hatred and humanity. They've gone off to the most hospitable place in the world, and have decided that they're going to find a way of making it work, is basically what the song is about. So so yeah, it's you know, again, I don't know about you, but I'm not always looking for, you know, songs don't necessarily always have to have meaning for me. Sometimes for me, it's just about the music and the song. And I think that song is one of those songs that, because, you know, you talked about how it starts off and how it hits and just gets better and better as you're going through the song. I have to agree with you like that totally. And yeah.
Yeah, and
so
the lyrics you read off, it's like they're very good, you know, fantastic lyrics. But the problem is, it's different lyrics for, you know, obviously for each song, but they're all on the same topic. So it does start kind of, you know, hitting you over the head with a hammer kind of thing. It's like
right.
I love the way he wrote this, but it's on exactly the same line of the other song. So it's like there's not enough of variation, not variety, you know, in this. It's just a bit too much the same, and it's still very good. So, you know, kudos to him. But I mean, he was very passionate, obviously, about this. It's a very sort of dark view of the future, which I actually mostly agree with, because, you know, human nature, we are who we are, and we are going to destroy the planet and ourselves. I believe that wholeheartedly. It's just a matter of time.
I don't have the bleak outlook.
No, for me, it's not a bleak outlook, and it's not a negative thing. It's just how I see, you know, realistically how I see things, and logically for me, you know, it doesn't have to be everybody's opinion, obviously. And it's not really my attitude towards life. It's just how I actually really believe that this is how it's going to go. And obviously he does as well. But I
Right.
wouldn't write a concept album where every song says that same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're headed to we're headed through an apocalypse. There'll be some people who will survive this. So the post-apocalyptic world will look like this. It's going to be terrible. Everybody's going to be fighting over resources and trying to stay alive. And we're basically going to be at each other after that. Some people would want peace. Other people would just want to take whatever they can get. And that's really
Right.
what
It's
he's
like,
saying.
look, dude, I've seen Mad Max. All of them.
Yeah. And this could have been a very different soundtrack to something like Mad Max or anything that
Very
is
much
in that
so.
sort of
Very much so. And the
post-apocalyptic
music
world.
video for Ghost Nation is pretty good. It's not as good as the My Name Is Ruin, which we'll get to here in a second. So
also a good track.
Yeah. So I would put, I mean, if I had to rate it 1 to 10 myself, I would give Ghost Nation a hard 10, just because of the 1 being worst, 10 being the best. Or is that what we're gonna do? Or are we gonna go 1 being the best?
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
So
it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Pretty great song, really. This album starts off on fire.
Yeah.
Which is why, to me, the rest of it was a little bit of maybe a slight letdown from that start. But still, it's still a pretty good album.
So we move on to the second
song,
one. Yep.
Which was again an interesting opening, because it starts off with these Middle Eastern influences. That sort of female voice in the background doing these runs that are very much Yeah. And the problem is the song after that has also got that. So again, with the whole, repetition thing. But it's still, a good song. And again, it's very hard to say different things about some of these songs because they all follow the same subject matter.
Yeah. The second one is Bed of Thorns. And apparently this was the first song that he wrote for the album. So, and it just talks about Gary's intense fear of not being able to live up to his previous success with the album Splinter, that opened number 2, I guess, on the UK album charts in 2017. So, as far as what the song is about, they just basically, I guess the song is it doesn't, I couldn't find anything to talk about the song other than that. So I mean, what I just kind of took from it is kind of a walk in my shoes kind of song is what it seems to in going through the lyrics. It just seemed to me, at least, that's kind of what I got from it, that it's a walk in my shoes and you'll understand my fear and all that, or until you walk in my shoes. I mean, it's kind of that age-old thing that people say, you don't understand anything about me until you walk a mile in my shoes. So which
to me
Mode
was
actually
like
did a song
called Walk in My Shoes.
Yep, exactly. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, but it's funny because you're talking about Walk in My Shoes from Depeche Mode, but to me it more reminded me more of like Personal Jesus from Depeche Mode. It's like he sets a character in a way within the theme of the album. This song is like telling you, it's almost like I'm the narrator of this. I've experienced whatever, this album's going to talk about. And you don't know what it's like until you've experienced what I've experienced.
Right.
So even though it talks about, like you said, his fear of failure, perhaps, from previous album, comeback album it was, I think. It still feels to be within the theme of this album. So it's, to me, it all felt like it was within that same sort of storyline, entering this post-apocalyptic world. I've gone through all of this. You haven't. Maybe prophetic. Maybe it's like he's telling you this is your future. You haven't been there yet. I have. That kind of thing, or you will not be able to understand it until you get there.
Right.
Which again was interesting, but it was a lot less intense than Ghost Nation as a song that follows up, and it's hard to say slower or not, but it is a bit slower.
Yeah,
but not a lot. But it just doesn't have that intensity of Ghost Nation. It didn't feel like an anthemic piece. Or
I don't necessarily know that you want an album that goes like balls to the wall for the first 5 songs. I think because I
agree.
I feel
but I'm not talking about the pace of the song. I'm talking about the intensity. It could have been a ballad, but an intense ballad makes a big difference. And this song felt like it was somewhere in the middle of the way kind of thing. I think I scored it out of 10 like a 6.5.
Yeah.
Which is good for me. But I think it hurt it that it followed from Ghost Nation, because Ghost Nation was just, blows your mind, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first song, which is the next song, which is My Name Is Ruin, that's actually the first one that I ever heard.
Yeah, it was a single.
Yeah, it was the single, and that was the music video that I found when I saw the picture, and then it had on the page that I was looking at, it said My Name Is Ruin, and then it had the music video for YouTube right below it. So I clicked on it and I watched it. And I was like, wow. I mean, even the music video. So my introduction to the album was My Name Is Ruin. So it wasn't Ghost Nation was after I watched and listened to My Name Is Ruin probably 4 or 5 times, and then went, oh, there's a whole album to this. What?
It actually makes a huge difference if Ghost Nation is not the first one you hear.
Yeah.
And My Name Is Ruin. It's like it's an excellent music video as well.
Yeah. It's
well within this whole
produced
theme. Yeah.
So I was pretty blown away by the video.
Yeah, I think it's also a better song than Bed of Thorns. So it was nice to kind of go, Ghost Nation up and then slightly down and then back up again a little bit. But it also starts off very similar to Bed of Thorns with that Middle Eastern kind of influence. And then, but what this one has a little bit more of is that intensity that I'm talking about. It's not the faster song than Bed of Thorns. It's about the same, but it is a bit more intense. There's something, which makes you a little bit more curious about it. And again, for me, the meaning of it and, the lyrics and everything, it's back to this, concept, the whole post-apocalyptic thing where we're going.
Right. Yeah. Well, and there's a young girl that's in the music video, and that's actually his daughter, Persia Numan, and so she does some singing. Go figure. That's it kind of goes with the theme. So yeah, that was a really good song. The meaning of it, I don't know. They just talk about a normal guy living in a post-apocalyptic world with his daughter. His wife is killed, and they take his kid and leave him for dead. Mad Max. So then Mad Max.
It's a Mad Max. Yeah. Just a little bit different, but still very much the same. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a it's a great song. I mean, that was because that was the first one that I heard. And then like you said, then you go and you hear the whole album, you listen to Ghost Nation, and that's it that's the kick in your ass that you get to get rolling into this crazy album. So yeah, that one for me, you said what, 6.5?
6.5 for Bed of Thorns.
Oh, okay. So what would you say about My Name Is Ruin then for that one?
What did you say about Bed of Thorns?
Oh,
that's what we didn't cover.
Bed of Thorns, I thought is probably like a 5 out of 10 for me.
Okay, so I actually was a bit more generous. Yeah,
you were a little more generous. I mean, not that it's a bad song, because again, I'm okay with albums that kind of do this.
Absolutely,
that give you that up and down, and that song wasn't. I liked it. It wasn't horrible by any means. I don't skip it when I'm listening to the whole album. So
also any song coming after Ghost Nation would have been a down, but I mean, you had it at 10.
It would have been hard. Yep.
So yeah, so going from 10 to 5 is a fair dip.
Yeah,
for me, it's like from a 9 to a 6.5 is a bit less. So obviously we felt similarly that there was a fair dip.
Yeah,
very much so. My Name Is Ruin for me sort of bumped it back up. I mean, it's not. I didn't have it as high as Ghost Nation. I had it at 7.8.
Oh wow, you went for the point system, huh?
It's the only way I have to differentiate between songs. I
Gotcha.
like to think, okay, is this better than this one? So sometimes I'll go, okay, it's like a decimal point, better, just
Gotcha.
to say, yeah. Otherwise, they'll all be like 7, 8, 6. Too many of the same.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Where did you have My Name Is Ruin?
My Name Is Ruin. I put that. I mean, once I heard Ghost Nation, My Name Is Ruin just kind of went down just a little bit. But I gave it an 8 for sure.
Yeah, so we were on about the same on that one, which is, it's a really great track. With the video clip, it's better.
Yes,
it adds
the video,
to it, definitely.
Music video, because the visuals in it are crazy. They're really they that avant-garde kind of what's the word? I'm having a hard time with my words today. My dyslexia is hitting me. It was just really it was very visual. The stuff that was done for the music video, and they did
the
a lot.
Aesthetic.
That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Itai fills in my big word blanks.
Hey, I'm as surprised as you are, because I told you I actually have a migraine at the moment, so remembering words is also on a hard to-do list at the moment. But
yeah, I get it. So we move on to the fourth song, The End of Things.
The End of Things, which to me should always be a title of maybe the last song of an album.
Yes. I totally agree with you on that one. Again, though, it's not the album or the song itself is not, content wise isn't much different than the first 2 songs or the first 3 songs. A
lot of them are, on as far as the meaning and the lyrics, fairly similar, I think, in a lot of ways. In that same ballpark.
Yeah, definitely.
It's again not a bad song. I actually could not differentiate it much as far as quality from Bed of Thorns. I thought it was very much on the same level, so I scored it exactly the same, 6.5.
Yeah, I'm probably a 5 on that as well.
Yeah, to me 6.5 is pretty good, so I did enjoy it, and I think I told you this before we started recording. To me, the songs from this album almost work better away from the album. So if you listen to one track at a time, if they come on the radio, you go, oh wow, that's a great track. And then if you listen to the whole album, it depends on the kind of mood you're in, or how much you like concept albums, and because it all becomes a little bit samey. It's there's not much difference between a lot of the songs, so it drops it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, but still, when you separate them, yeah, they're great. I mean,
Well,
there's
this
not
one
much
was
not much bad I could say about Gary Numan as a musician. I mean, the guy knows his shit.
yeah, yeah, he definitely does. I kind of like this song though, just because of I like the verses, that
Yes.
he kind of repeats a couple of things, everything's so cold, the air is so still, there should be nothing here to see. Is this a warning, like in a black book? There can be no one else but me. I like how that's sung, because it's almost in a whisper. It's almost like he's just leaning in, and he's like this far from your face, and he's just,
Mm.
you know, the air. And so I like that. I don't know. That's something about that part of that song. And then when the chorus kicks in, then it's like kind of builds up. There's this kind of pseudo crescendo that hits in the chorus. And that was one thing I liked about that song. That's one of my higher rated songs. I mean, if I had to give it if I had to rate that one, I'd put that one at a solid 9 or 8, or between 8.
Which
We'll
which
say
song? Which
8.5.
song?
The end of
Which
things.
song are you talking about?
The end of
Oh,
things.
I thought you just said a 5 before, but okay. Oh, you were still talking about Bed of Thorns, which I mentioned.
Yeah, we were
Okay,
talking
gotcha.
about Bed of Thorns. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So
Yeah, and again, that's why I would have placed it at the end of the album,
yeah,
because it has that feeling of it kind of kicks things back up a bit, but also is a good way to kind of finish. And obviously the theme of it, but now when I look at it and I look at the names of the tracks, I can tell that he just wanted it there because he's telling a story. And this
right.
this whole album is meant to be not just prophetic. I think it's also like a warning.
Hmm.
It's like telling people, hey, listen up. If we don't do something about it, this is where we're headed.
Right.
So at the end of all things, it's like
Right.
saying, this is going to be the result. And then if you look at the name of the next track, and it all
And it
began with
began with,
you.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like this is what's going to happen, and who's to blame, really. It's us.
Hmm.
And yeah, to me, that fifth song, and it all began with you, was I liked it better than the end of things.
Oh, okay.
For me, yeah, for me that was like a sort of like a 7.2. It's just kind of kicked things back up a bit. Was I think I like the chorus. Sort of spoke to me a bit more musically. I like that one.
Yeah,
So
that
yeah,
one,
good track.
I like that one. Again, I don't like it as much as the previous one.
Well, obviously, a
It's
9 you gave it.
yeah, well, 8.5
Hard to top.
in there. So
For
so
what?
yeah,
For it all began with you.
no,
You're
no,
saying
no,
8.5?
no, the previous
Oh,
one,
you
the
said
end.
9 before. You've already dropped it.
Oh, I said 9, 8.5, 9, right in there between 8 and
Okay.
9. So we'll go 8.5.
Still very high. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's one of those songs that when it comes on, I'll actually turn it up. I really like that one. And again,
Cool.
for those of you out there that are watching, if you're like walking the political spectrum one way or another, we're looking at this album regardless of what it's about and whether you agree with it or not. We're looking at it from a musical standpoint. And yes, we're looking at the lyrics, but again, I'm just one of those people that I just love music for music. And
Absolutely.
and I don't, if something is going to be political, and that's the beauty of this, it doesn't slap you with it. So I'm just wanted to reiterate that. once again. So,
and you can, you can connect with the lyrics on that sort of, political level, and you can connect with the lyrics just on a spiritual level, and whoever you
yeah,
are and what and you can connect, or at least if you're into this type of music, you will definitely connect to it musically.
yeah,
um
yeah,
it's all valid. If people are for it, against it politically, I really don't care. I everybody's entitled to their opinion. It's all good.
right.
But yeah, but like you said, we're going to look at it for the music.
Yep. So
I mean, obviously
that
the lyrics are
particular,
part of that.
yeah. So what'd you think for that song? What would you give it?
Which one?
The one, and it begins with, or wait, no, hold on. Yeah, and it begins with you.
I already scored the top 5. I just lost it.
I guess
now.
I missed it.
No, I gave it
Say
like
it again.
like a 7.2. I think a 7.2.
Okay. All right. All right. I would say probably a 5 or a 6, around there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just, again, like I said, it connected with me. It's an interesting one.
Right. So the next song here is When the World Comes Apart. And I don't know, I couldn't find anything about what that was about, but I think the title kind of says it all, and the lyrics
speaks for itself. And
the first, and the right. Go ahead.
Within that, I'm saying within the theme here, it's probably self-explanatory, really.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of repetitive, with everything that comes before it.
Right.
But musically, I really like this song.
Yeah, this one's a good one. It's kind of one of those that really kind of kicks it up. I've listened to this album probably 5 or 6 times just in the last 4 days, just because A, I enjoy it, and B, I knew we were going to talk about it. So where would you put this one in the spectrum?
I got it at 7.9. It was just like, it's not quite an 8, but it's pretty much there. It's really good.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 myself. I kind of thought that it was, I'm with you. That's one of the good songs.
There was something about it that just kind of, I don't know what, just again, maybe it's what I was talking about before. That's kind of an intensity within, Gary Numan's intent behind the song. So you feel it. When I feel him, not just him, any kind of artist, I guess, musically, when I feel the artist and how they feel about what they're singing about, that makes a huge difference to me.
Yeah.
So I think there was some of that in this one. But yeah, good track.
All right. So next one
Number
is Mercy.
7.
Mercy.
Yeah. How did you feel about that one?
That's probably the one. That's probably one that I didn't. It was okay. I mean, in reading the lyrics, I get it.
It's not just me. Good. It's a fair drop in my thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it. I'll just say I gave it a 6.2.
You went higher than me, because I gave it a 4.
I tend to go higher than you, just because I'm a nicer person, I think. You're just a terrible person. So.
Yeah, I'm a horrible human being. Absolutely horrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
You are. It's true.
I wasn't, that one wasn't, that one I didn't connect with it as much.
Yeah.
Again,
there was something about that, Yeah.
So, all right. So we're moving on here. What God Intended is the next one here. I don't know. That was another one. I don't know. I kind of felt like the further we got into the album, I'm not saying the songs got bad, but like you said, the kind of repetition started to,
it became hard. But at the same time, I started looking for something, for a difference, between the songs.
Right.
So at some
Right.
points, I did find some things that picked things up a bit, and then not. This to me would rate as like, it's not a bad song, but it still would rate as the worst song on the album for me.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
I looked at the name of it, what God intended, it actually kind of piqued my interest. I was like, okay, this should be interesting. And then I thought, oh, okay, kind of wasn't. But it was okay. I gave it a 5.8, which is, still reasonable for me, but it's the lowest, of the 12 songs I have here. So
Yeah. Um, yeah, I guess it was the second single that they released was this
really.
song. And Newman said he described the song as one of the stranger songs on the album. And
Mm.
well, the song is like more instrumental than it is lyrics, is one thing. And I think that's another reason why I wasn't super crazy about it, because I don't know, sometimes just listening to him sing, it's like we said, his voice is still pretty on point and pretty, it's still got some
Absolutely.
drive to it. So it was, this one is less of a lyrical song and more instrumental.
Yeah.
So
And
uh,
yeah, there were about maybe two or three songs on this album that are a bit like that are
mhm,
more instrumental than lyrics. I mean, they all had some lyrics, but
right.
the thing about that, the instrumental part of it was all very similar between those songs. Again, so to me, it's like, I think that let it down a little bit. And you're right, whenever he does get into lyrics and he is singing, it improves the song.
Yes.
So
Yes, very
the
much.
instrumental parts, while interesting and nice and well produced and well written and all the rest of it,
Hmm.
again, it's like, okay, it's not much different than the other one. It's not really giving me much. And then he starts singing. It's
Right.
like, oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
but
It's yeah, that one I wasn't a big fan of it. So
mhm.
um
And then he goes into song 9, which is "Pray for the Pain You Serve."
mhm.
Interesting title again.
Yeah.
He's got some interesting titles here, I got to say.
Well,
That one for me was a huge bump up from what God intended.
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really picked
Definitely.
things up. And it ended up a 6.9 on mine. Um, not quite a 7, but around there. Um, but I really liked it. I really like this song.
Yeah, I gave it a 6. I gave it
Mm.
a 6. I liked it. But it wasn't crazy about it. So,
Yeah,
and
like you said, the album goes up and down. So coming from Mercy, which was down, and then God, which was down more, this one
mhm,
came, sort of brought it back up a bit. So yeah,
right.
good track.
Right. So,
Because the
uh,
10th one on the album is
yeah.
one that I specifically have in my notes, that almost 2/3 of it or half of it is instrumental.
Yes.
It's called Broken. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. It
So yeah.
he wrote it about it was used in a movie called Watson. I guess it was about the co-founder of Greenpeace. Um and so that was one of the reasons it was intended to paint a picture of a ravaged planet, again, like the other songs. But um the people that were making this movie got permission to use it and use it for the opening title track. So so that instrumental kind of came into play for them on that particular uh, track. I don't know. That one was okay. I didn't love it. Um, but
I actually ended up scoring it in two parts, going, okay, the instrumental part is about a 6. It's okay. When it goes into the lyrics and starts singing, the lyrics are pretty awesome, actually, to this track. There's not a lot of
yeah.
them, but still very good. And I rated the lyrics at 7. So I was like, okay, the song is a 6.5 for
me. There you go.
It was a lot of waiting for the good part, though, because
waiting for the
too
voice.
much instrumental to, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, that one was probably a 6 for me. And that was, I don't know. It says that they're, depending on what album or which one you're listening to, says there's 2 more tracks, but I don't have that version that I listened to. Did you?
Oh, I actually had them, from the YouTube link you sent me.
Okay. Oh, that had
it was
11 and 12?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. All right. Well, you're going to have to talk about those because I've got nothing to say.
Okay, I'll talk about them. I'll talk about them briefly. Number 11 is a song called If I Said. Again, I don't have a lot to say about the meanings and the lyrics because it all falls within this theme that we've talked about. But If I Said to me was definitely sort of again, we're on the upswing. It's a much better song than a lot of maybe the 4 or 5 that came before it. I had it at 7.3. Really, really liked it. I especially like the chorus of it. The chorus kind of got me, sort of almost singing along, And the last one is a song called number 12 is a song called Cold. So I'm guessing to him it's like that's the world is going to go cold at the end of it, and that's why he put it at number 12 after all this.
Right.
This fire of hell that we're going to get hit with, it's all going to go cold. And, probably both, temperature wise and metaphorically kind of. It was a good song. Again, not one of the best songs in the album. I had it at about 6.5. I thought it was pretty good. And then I kind of, when I looked at the whole album and kind of averaged it out, it's somewhere between a 7.5. But for me, that's a really good album.
Yeah. I gave it an 8 overall. Just because I kind of felt, it's I can put it in, I can listen to it, and I don't turn it off. For whatever reason, I don't know that I don't have. Look at my trusty phone here.
It's definitely, obviously by your score and mine too, it's like it's greater than the sum of its parts, because if you average out what you gave the songs, it would come in lower, probably under 7. But when you go through the whole thing, it's like there's a lot more to like than dislike about this album. But for me, by far, the standout track is Ghost Nation.
Yeah. Well,
there's a few good ones, but that one, what a great track. To our viewers, listeners, whatever out there, if you're not going to go listen to the album, just check out that first track.
Just look up Ghost Nation because it's a pretty amazing tune. So. Well, there we go. There you have it. Our discussion on the album, the Gary Numan album, Savage, Songs from a Broken World. And if you guys out there would like to hear us talk about one of your favorite albums, just send us an email to the email address below. And make sure that you subscribe and share, subscribe and share, subscribe and share.
And when you send us, email us any suggestions, if you have it, please include a link to potentially like a YouTube or something like that, where we can watch the clips and listen to the albums. And we'll do our best to cover as many as possible.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, though, No, I just want to say to you that was a good pick. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you.
it was good to sort of remind me of that one as well, because like I said, I heard it before, but just once, and I never went back to it for whatever reason. And it was actually good to revisit it and go, yeah, this is some sort of impressive work. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm going to actually go back and hunt down the rest of those, the rest of his albums.
the
Because
Newmans,
after, what's that?
the Newmans, we'll call them.
The Newmans. Yep. I'm gonna go back and look up some of the, listen to some of the other stuff. Cause I thought after like 1984, 85 that he just kind of went away, and that's not the case. So I'm gonna
I thought he disappeared in the 90s, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're a DJ, a nightclub DJ, like we talked about in the past that I was, you're playing the popular songs and that's it. So it's and I wasn't necessarily back then a music connoisseur. And I'm not even going to say that I am now, because I'm not I don't dig as deep into music as a lot of people do, but I just, for me, it's about the enjoyment of the music. I either like a song or don't. I don't always look for the deeper meaning. To me, it's there's only a handful of songs that I've heard in my life that I go, God, you know what, that one's good. That one says something to me. It speaks to me. So, but on the whole, for a long time, when you're a DJ, you're playing the songs that are popular. So
who let the dogs out? Who?
who? All right.
It's like a go-to song to remind us of the crap that's out there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, my friend. All right. Well, again,
Happy to help.
Like, subscribe, and share. Thanks again for watching this episode of The Straight Shooters. We will see you all next time. Like, subscribe,
See you soon,
share.
guys.
Like, subscribe, share. Like, subscribe, share.